Hi everybody. Before I get started on the N&W and Southern cabooses, reason why I'm doing a slideshow like this is because I don't want to have to manage a website. I mean, I don't have a website. I'd have to get a domain name. I have to manage the website, and it might get hacked. I have to pay for the domain name. I have to upload the video, the photos, and type captions in for them. And this is just easier for me, to be honest with you. Maybe it's not as convenient for you guys, but I'm sharing my pictures the best way I can. So that's why I don't want to have a website. If somebody wants a print, put in the comments, hey, and send me your email address. I'll send you a copy, a digital copy of the print. I don't care. Anyhow, this caboose was donated to the Ross County Railroad Preservation Society, which started up when B&O abandoned their line, and they leased the depot for a while. This was in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, something like that. Didn't last very long, but it did last long enough to have the caboose painted very nicely. When the Preservation Society went under, I think it's in Nelsonville, Ohio, at the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad, but I'm not sure about that. So this was taken in June 1987. That's at the end of a northbound train in Chillicothe. That's the bridge over Paint Creek at the end there, and it was stopped. So that's why I was able to get up so close to it. This is the same caboose. I just can't imagine I walked out on that bridge to take this picture, but evidently I did, because I don't have a zoom lens that could shoot from the other end of the bridge. I think these were taken in the yard in Danville, Kentucky, which is south of Lexington, back in the maybe late 80s, early 90s. Southern had mostly bay window cabooses. These next three were taken in 1986, 1987. This one is in Chillicothe, I'm pretty sure. And I think this one also is in Chillicothe. August 1987 in Circleville. It's an ex-Southern GP38AC, and the caboose is an ex-nickel plate caboose. I love this picture. I'm not sure when it was taken. I think, though, it was in Canova, West Virginia, in the yard there, but I'm not positive about that. I have no information about this picture at all. Looks like an interesting spot with that retaining wall there and the track below it, but I don't know where it was taken. This is southbound in Chillicothe, just crossing the Scioto River Bridge, and notice the high rail truck that's following back behind it. Jawtooth has shot videos here at one time. So this caboose is at Princeton, Indiana, next to the depot. Of course, it's been repainted. It's next Wabash caboose. Looks a lot better now than it did then. I took this in November 1988. I must have got around November 1988 because this is in Jackson, Ohio, and this is actually the Indiana and Ohio caboose. My notes say I took it November 26, 1988. That's an ex-N&W caboose. So these next two were taken in Canova, West Virginia, also in November 26, 1988. I must have made a big loop. That was probably Thanksgiving that year, and I probably did quite a bit of driving. But I know I didn't go to Princeton, Indiana over Thanksgiving. It had to be another reason I was out there. So I don't have time to tell the whole sad story with this beautiful caboose. Basically, it sat in Portsmouth, Ohio for many years. It's restored, and but it was sitting on land that was not owned. It was rented, and the rent went up, and didn't know what to do with it. People lost interest in it. It was actually rented out to someone. They didn't want it anymore. So unfortunately, it had to be sold and moved. And the next picture coming up, I guess it's in Adams County, Ohio, on a farm, and it's not in very good shape. So here's what it looks like now. Very sad to see. So this caboose sat in Asheville, Ohio, and yeah, the paint really faded on. I guess it was owned by the Asheville Men's Club, and it wasn't secure. It had no fence around it. The police kept having to chase kids off of it. They get on the roof, and they're worried about the liability. everything. So they finally decided they were going to get rid of it. And they thought that they had got somebody to move it, sold it to them for like $1 or something like that. They thought they were going to get somebody to move it to save it. The guy showed up to move it and had a misunderstanding, and they cut it up on the spot. This was in 2010, so it no longer exists. The last two pictures were taken by my uncle, Harley Scott, in the late 50s, early 60s in Chillicothe, Ohio, where the diamond was next to the depot. This is, and you'll see more pictures from him coming later. This is a C&O train that was detouring over the N&W. I actually have the locomotives for that train too, which I'll show you sometime. In the background, you can see the N&W Freight House, which was a pretty busy place back then. And the next one is going to be an N&W northbound train with 2 cabooses on it for whatever reason. And that'll be the end of the video. But I'll show you more of these historic pictures later on. They were building the overpass at the time. Everybody stay safe.